Hi there, and welcome to FSBO Smarts podcast. I'm Steve Klein, and this is episode 69, where we're going to talk about when not to use a real estate agent. That's right. Last time we talked about the reasons that I personally started doing for sale by owner. Before that, we talked about buying a home 101, and then tips about the pros and cons of using a real estate agent. In this episode, we're going to talk about specifically when not to use a real estate agent. Now, this is kind of what our whole podcast is all about, is helping empower you to be a confident for sale by owner home seller. But you may be asking yourself, well, why wouldn't I use a real estate agent? Well, in this episode, I'm going to go through the reasons when not to use a real estate agent for selling your home. But first, this intro. Welcome back to the FSBO Smarts podcast, where we bring you the latest tips, trends, and stories from the real estate world as it pertains to your for sale by owner journey. I'm Steve Klein, and today we're going to dive into this topic a bit that could be a bit controversial, and that's when not to use a real estate agent when selling your home. Now, in all fairness, I said before that I do have friends and relatives that are real estate agents out there, and I think they do a great job. But there's a lot of reasons why you may want to do it by yourself for sale by owner style. And let me be clear, that means 100% FSBO, which means 100% of the commission savings is going directly to you. And that's important, right? Because why else would we do this? Why else would we go through the trouble of selling it for ourselves if we're not going to get anything in return, right? There's extra savings, and that's big savings. When it comes to a big sale like your real estate, like your home, you want to save as much of that as possible. And so this is why it's really important to understand how you can do this. And so we're going to explore, though, the situations specifically when not to use a real estate agent and doing it for sale by owner or the FSBO route. And that might just be a better choice in your particular situation. Now, why this topic is so important is because with real estate agents, they play a crucial role in many of the home sales, but their services come at a high price tag, a real high. Now, it might be worth considering if you can handle the sale yourself, but today we'll talk about the pros and the cons and practical tips and real life experiences that I have had and others have had to help you make an informed decision. Now, before we get started, let's share a quick story of my friend Sarah. Sarah decided to buy her home, or sell her home rather, with a real estate agent last year. And she confidently did this because she had some prior experience with a real estate agent. But Sarah did her homework, priced her home correctly, and used an outline process to market it. In just a few weeks, she had multiple offers and ended up selling her home for more than she expected, all without paying the hefty commission price. Now, this got me thinking of the situation where FSBO might be a viable option. So what does this mean when we talk about for sale by owner and selling it without a real estate agent? Essentially, you're taking all of the responsibility that a realtor would normally handle the marketing, the pricing, the showing of your home, negotiating the buyers and with the buyers, and managing the closing process. Now, obviously, the closing process is a little bit tricky, right? Because we really don't do anything with the closing process except for setting it up. That's exactly what a real estate agent does too, by the way. They set up the closing process with a third party, a neutral third party, a title insurance company usually. And the closing process is typically handled automatically. There's a few nuances to it that I won't go into in this podcast episode, but I've talked about it in the past episodes, and I do talk about it in my course. But it sounds like, and it may sound like a lot. I mean, right, the real estate agent usually does that, but you're going to have to do it. And again, it's not really that difficult. You can just open escrow with any title insurance company. But some homeowners, they feel that it's worth considering because people typically consider FSBO to save commission fees and more control over the sales process. Now, sometimes because they've had a bad experience with an agent in the past, That might be also the reason why people are jumping in to sell in a home for sale by owner. So what are the pros and cons? Well, first, let me start off with the pros. So obviously there's cost savings, right? This is probably one of the biggest reasons people consider selling a home without an agent, because an agents typically charge commissions around 5 to 6%. On a $300,000 home, that's $15,000 and up to $18,000. But if you sell it on your own, then you potentially see the savings, and even if it's your own personal residence, your home, then you can see the savings right away. Now, also, control over the process is important, because if you have full control over the process, you can dictate to your own terms. You don't have to be at the whim of the real estate agent. I've heard people struggle with the pricing or the ability to sell because they're not just negotiating with the seller now, they're negotiating with the real estate agent who's trying to sell, or I should say the buyer. They're not like at odds with the buyer or the seller. It's like they're odds with their own real estate agent. And so in that regard, it's better to have a little bit more control, because then you can dictate the terms, you can dictate the negotiations. Plus, a lot of people don't like the delay between the agent and the buyer. Sometimes they actually like to be able to talk to them directly, and they can't when you're going through an agent. In fact, they frown upon that. Agents will tell you not to talk with the buyer. And you're like, well, what if I could just ask them a question? What if I could solve their problems and maybe I could come down a little bit? Oh, no, you can't come down a little bit. That's taking money off of our plate, off of our commission. Okay, I'm just being a little facetious there. But you get the idea that sometimes there's a duality to what a real estate agent will do for you. So that could be another reason why you would want to do a for sale by owner, is you have more control over that whole process. And it gives you a convenience of showing the home on your own terms when you see fit. You don't have to schedule a process or schedule time with the agent and leave your home. You can actually be there to show your own home. And it goes to how you want to have a clear vision of how you want to sell your home and how you want the sale to go. Another big pro is the flexibility. When you sell your own home yourself, you set your own schedule and terms. You want to hold on an open house on a Saturday, for example? No problem. Prefer negotiation directly with the buyers? You got it. Flexibility can be a significant advantage, especially if you have a busy lifestyle and specific preferences on how you want the home to be sold. This could be a great advantage. Now, as for the cons, let's discuss those right now. The time and effort selling the home is a lot of effort. And from marketing your home to scheduling your home to hosting and showing and negotiation with the buyer and handling all the paperwork can be very time consuming. And some people do this as a full-time job. So there is a significant commitment that you may need to do to handle this on your own. Also, if you have a lack of knowledge, a real estate agent has a lot of marketing knowledge in the local market. Now, you might be comfortable with this. You might actually feel comfortable marketing your own home because you know the area, you know the schools, you know you've lived there for a number of years. So this might not be a problem for you. So if it is, great, go for it. But if not, that is a definite con for a lot of people. Also, without knowledge, you may price your home a little bit wrong, but as we talk about even in our course, there's comparable sales that you can do to get the accurate price for your home. There could also be legal paperwork challenges. Knowing how to fill out the paperwork could be also a con to some people. I don't mind it because I use a template when I did my home sales, and so I would write out everything as John Doe or Jane Doe in the terms that I wanted to sell my home for. Now, obviously, the price can be negotiated right there with the buyer, but you have everything templated down and you can just fill in whatever name that you would have. You have your blank contract here and you have your other contract here, and you're just kind of going down the list and filling out, Part A, Part B, Part C. It's pretty cookie cutter once you get to it, but that is a definite con that some people don't like and that would prefer an agent. So without an agent, you need to take care of these responsibilities yourself, which can be a little daunting and risky if you're not familiar with the process. That's why I always encourage people to learn, study up, and get things like our course. We have a course on this stuff that you can find at FSBOSmarts.com. And anytime you're doing that, or even on this podcast, for example, educating yourself is one of the greatest tools that you can do for yourself. So when does it make sense to sell your home without an agent? Well, here are a few scenarios. Hot seller's market. So if you have a seller's market that is in what we call a hot seller's market, where demand is high, inventory is low, homes trending, sales are going up and they're selling quickly, and they're selling at the asking price. In such a market, the FSBO Smarts really win out over the agents because you could sell your own home really quick. And why get an agent, right? If you can do it yourself and save a lot of money and you know how, and you have the confidence and you feel good about it, why not? Experienced sellers also benefit if you've ever sold a home before, or if you've done a for sale by owner once, you can do it again. If you're a real estate agent yourself, you can do it on your own. The previous experience can really help with the negotiating, the challenges that come with selling. You kind of been there, right? Also, if you have a unique property that you have for sale, a lot of times the demographics might just be in your favor. Buyers tend to reach out to you instead of the other way around, and negotiation might become really easy in that case. So if I have to give you a practical tip here, if you're considering selling your home without an agent, there are some practical tips that will help you succeed. First, have a pricing strategy. Pricing your home accurately is crucial. Start by researching comparable sales in your area that have recently sold online. Sites like Zillow or Redfin, they can provide useful data. You also might consider getting a professional appraisal done on your home to ensure that you're pricing it at the right price point. Now, effective marketing also is a key to attracting buyers. Now, I talked about Zillow and Redfin. Those are two great sites, but what I'd suggest for you to do rather is have a photo that is really professionally done. Now, you could do this yourself, sure, with an iPhone. A lot of phones are doing great photos, but if you have a friend that's a photographer, if you, let's just say, pay a couple $100s to a professional photographer, that can make the world of difference in the flyer that you create, in the online sales and marketing of your home. All of these things play a role in selling your home. So anything you can do to enhance that is the best thing you can do. Now, there's legal considerations, and I'm not an attorney, but make sure that you follow all the legal requirements of selling your home in your area. And this includes understanding the contracts, disclosures, and closing procedures. You might want to hire a real estate attorney to help you through that paperwork to ensure everything is done correctly. But just make sure that the real estate agent knows that you want to be the home seller, because even an agent, a lawyer, they will want to put themselves as an agent. Yes, you heard me right. Lawyers and attorneys could act as an agent for you selling the home, and then they could take a little bit of the portion and work it in as a legal fee. So just be careful there. Just let them know upfront what you're wanting to do. And even if you had to pay a lawyer $500 or even $1,000, think of the money that you're saving. If in the scenario of a $350,000 home and you're saving 6% of interest rate so a commission rate, that's $21,000. Even if you had to pay an attorney $1,000, you still get $20,000 of savings. So you have room, you have some wiggle room there. All right, so let's recap. We've covered today selling your home without a real estate agent can save you money, give you more control, and give you more flexibility. But it also can be a significant investment in your time, effort, and you have to understand the laws and the process of it. So you have to weigh those things and whatever makes sense to you. If it's a hot seller's market, maybe that's a good time to do it. If you've had prior experience of of selling a property, or if it's a unique property, you may be on a great track to sell it for sale by owner. Ultimately, the decision of going FSBO or using an agent depends on your individual circumstances and your comfort level in the process. So I hope this episode has given you some valuable insights to help you make those decisions. Well, thank you for tuning in today for today's podcast on the real estate insight for using a real estate agent and when you would not want to use a real estate agent and do the FSBO way. If you found value in this episode, please share it with your friends and also like and subscribe. Leave a comment in the comments section below. I'd love to hear from you. And if you wouldn't mind, subscribe on the Apple Podcast or leave us a star rating on Spotify. Until next time, this is Steve Klein saying, become FSBO smart and save thousands of dollars potentially on your next home sale. And we'll see you in the next episode.